Hello, friends, and welcome to CareersTalk. In CareersTalk, we invite various agilists to share their valuable experience with all of us. And today, Kushal Pawar is with us, joining from Canada, having 12 years of IT experience and from last 4+ years working as a Scrum Master. So, friends, before we move on, if you are new to our channel, please do subscribe our channel CareersTalk and don't forget to hit like. Your one like is a big motivation for all of us. So without further delay, let's welcome Kushal. So Kushal, thank you for joining us today. Kushal,
Hey, hi Sunan. Hope you're doing well. And it's an honor for me to be present over there again. Thanks for inviting me to this leading agile platform to share my experience. And it gives me an immense pleasure to be with you time and again. And I must say that you are being a torch bearer for all those agile community people who want to learn about agile and Scrum. And I also
thank
often ask my peer Scrum masters or my other colleagues to just refer your channel, YouTube channel, because it is very informative and it's been in trending. So most of the people who are in my office, they know you, who are my colleagues, who are my fellow Scrum Master. They know about you, they know about your channel, and they took a lot of learnings from your channel.
great, great. Thank you, Kushal. Thank you. Okay, so if you allow, shall we start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Uh, so before we start, can you just tell your experience as a working as a Scrum Master? And I think you recently moved into a role of Agile consultant. So can you just share your experience? What are your key learnings and specific areas for your personal development, right, that contribute to this particular transformation? So if you just want to share, because there are a lot of people out there who want to become a Scrum Master, or they are looking for some other role. Let's say they already played like 5 to 10 years as a Scrum Master, and then they just asking like, okay, what next? Something like that. So I found this role interesting. I myself working as a consultant a lot. So yeah, Kushal, over to you.
Yeah, Sunan, to be honest, I was fortunate enough to get a very good projects in, by while I started my journey as a Scrum Master. And, eventually things worked out in my favor when I got an opportunity to lead a team of Scrum Masters. And my role evolved during the course of time in last 1 year. Now I'm playing a role of Agile consultant where I do mentor few of the Scrum Masters. So as my journey started as a Scrum Master, there was a lot of challenges, and it is like true agility lies in time and material projects. It is, I always say people that if at all we are working kind of a fixed bit project, then we won't be saying it as a true agile project. So true agile project lies with the time and material project. So I was fortunate enough that I contributed my effort towards in that TNM projects. So now I'm leading Scrum team, and I'm just helping them out to resolve the complexities of the entire pod, entire structure. So as my role evolved, I'm not a servant leader anymore. I am just creating those leaders to serve their respective pods. And apart from that, there are plenty of things that I've been contributing. Like recently a project has started, so I was more involved in writing the working agreements, how the agile team will operate. And then there was an existing team which I was mentoring, so I used to run agile workshop for them to make them understand the artifacts, how all the ceremonies, how all those artifacts are important for Scrum, and they should respect all those ceremonies. And that's a kind of an agile overview I used to conduct for them. Apart from that, there was a kind of a maturity assessment I used to do for all those teams, whichever are running from last couple of years or so. So in that maturity assessment, we do check how exactly team has evolved in terms of adopting agile. So these are the things which I have been doing as of now. And
Great.
from other perspective, it's like more of other things which I have been doing is making sure that Scrum of Scrum is running very well. Okay, and I'm leading that Scrum of Scrum calls as well, where I make sure that all those challenges blockers gets unblocked. And moreover, one more thing which I uh, do on a religious basis is agile best practices. That being an agile consultant is my primary job.
Great, great. Thank you, Kushal, for that. Okay, so I have one more kind of follow-up question that now you are into Canada and you are also into India. So what kind of differences, especially in the work culture, you have seen, the way the projects which are managed in India and the project which are managed in Canada. So if you can also want to share in a brief maybe.
Mhm. Yeah, so we all are, all came from India, and there is a kind of cultural differences that you're gonna observe once you come over here. So the major thing which I have observed over here is like they follow more of a flat hierarchy. It's not like that they don't have managers, but they are more vocal about their opinions. People are over here, and you really can't impose your idea on someone. You can just suggest the ideas. If at all the person likes that, then he will take it and will implement it, but you can't impose. So it's more of an egalitarian culture which is being followed over here, where each and every individual is equal to express their opinions. Moreover, we have to deal people with very softly over here. We really can't be pushy with the things. If at all if we are going for some project for bidding or something, so we can't push them, okay, to that you can take this. We can't overdo the things. So we need to make sure, because people get offended over here if at all you are trying to be too much pushy. So that's the thing which I have observed over here. And yeah, culturally they are very much open, and they do not hide anything. And that's the kind of work culture we do have over
Yeah, I think it's a kind of plus point then.
here. Yes,
Okay, because you have to be open and transparent if you are actually
they
practicing
are
as
they themselves are true agile.
true. I think that's the culture across the Europe as well. So that's something which I can also add on. Okay, so let's move on to some agile scrum questions. So we heard a lot about these matrices. So I'm not going to ask you any standard matrices which you might have used so far. So apart from addition, I mean, if you can just tell us some other matrices which you have discovered or utilized um
Mhm.
as your role as an agile consultant, apart from some standard matrices. Do not tell me about burn down, burn up chart, and all those things. So tell me something which our viewers have not heard about, or something which you really enjoyed, or maybe if you have discovered during your stay in Canada or during this last 2 3 years. Yeah.
See, my matrices are a bit different. What I always, instill, try to instill in my team. It's not about being restricted to reporting format. These velocity charts, sprint burn down chart, and all, they are more particular about the reporting and all those things. But true agility lies when you are evolving. Okay, and true agility can be defined only by the true Scrum matrices. So, in my opinion, I always used to make sure that number of failed deployments. First thing, we used to be, we often have failed deployments during a release and all. So if at all we are minimizing those failed deployments of over the period of time, then it means that code is stable, environment is stable, and that also it also ensures that our development team is doing tremendous job. So field deployment is one of the metrics I always consider. Then we often, uh, uh, we often just don't give the credit of keeping the product backlog healthy. So I always used to make sure that if your product backlog is good, then eventually your sprint goal will be successful. You will achieve the sprint goal. So product backlog help, keeping this backlog healthy means that if you get if you can get to see in the product backlog, there will be a lot of orphan stories. There will be a lot of dormant stories, I mean, which are not related to your pod or something. So always make sure to keep a periodic check on those stories. If at all they do not belong to your pod, then just remove it. So in my opinion, what I used to do, I used to always define I always used to segregate my product backlog into 2 or 3 sections. So in product backlog, I used to create 3 sprints. Basically, that is ready for sprint, that is the sprint, that is our stories which are immediately ready for the next sprint, and that are being refined. Second bit is about the stories which are waiting and blocked, means the stories which we have an external dependency on other team. Okay, and the last one is the original product backlog. So instead of referring the actual product backlog, I always used to refer the ready for sprint. And I used to keep buffer stories as well, if at all we get stuck up in between, so my velocity doesn't get impact, and we can replace the actual committed story with the some buffer story. And
Yes.
then there are other things as well, if you want me to elaborate.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's
Yeah.
the third bit is about workload distribution. I always see that people say that we have a lot of spillovers and all those things. We couldn't complete those committed stories. So at that point of time, I used to think that we used to have an effective sprint capacity planning. And just before the sprint kicks off, you have to sit out with your dev lead or your product owner and all, and then you have to decide how much the capacity, how much is a focus factor for your team. If at all your focus factor is pretty much constant, but you're overcommitting few things, then it eventually gonna spill over. So ideally, you should have a good workload distribution for your team, and it can only be possible if you have an effective sprint capacity planning. And then there comes usual things like escape defects. Once the release is gone, and in the after the production, number of defects we observe, and that has been identified by the users, so that we have to minimize. So these are the few scrum metrics, and most importantly, which is at a very minute level and which we don't consider that much as a metrics. It's a retro action points. See, the thing is that once we are done with the retro, we are quite relaxed. Okay, sprint got over, and now we don't have anything to do. So at that point of time, being a scrum master, I used to note it down. What are the action items on me, so that in the next retro I can show some progress, and I can bring out that servant leadership character in me, that okay, something which has been progressed by me, how we have mitigated all those challenges which we faced in the last retro. So that sums up all the scrum metrics which I believe, which are very much important, and we should encourage to have them.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay. So this next question is little tricky. Tricky in the sense because most of the time people ignore that, and that is about Scrum values. So, have you ever encountered any situation in your experience as a Scrum Master or as a consultant that one or more of the Scrum values were compromised? And if you have faced those kind of situation, so how you address them and try to resolve those situations? So that's a question. Question.
It happened with me, so that lately, when I mean, there was a new project that got onboarded, and I was appointed, Scrum Master for that. So at that point of time, there was a kind of challenge that I was facing from my business and as well as from the technical person, solution architect. So they were piling up too many stories in the backlog, and eventually, our developers were, not sure what to pick on and what is a priority and all those things. So we should respect each other in that way, that okay, developer can deliver this amount of work, and and business can give that much amount of stories. So what I did, I implemented something, a backlog prioritization technique over there. So I set up some time, that's blocked some time in my calendar, where I kept a backlog prioritization meeting. There we invited all of developers, scrum, and then business people, as well as the technical people, I mean solution architect and all. So we have to set the baseline over there. So I spoke to them. I told them that going forward, we will be having a kind of backlog validation technique that we're gonna use going forward. That is WSJF. So at that point of time, they really can't change the requirements in between, saying that this is of higher value and this is not of higher value. So whatever is being discussed over there, that is being freezed. So like, business value, something which will be decided in WSJF. We have certain factors like business value, opportunity enablement, and then your time criticality. So I used to make sure that these three things are being decided by product owner and by the solution architect or the technical person, whoever is there. And the job duration, that is something which is we estimate, I mean development team used to estimate. So I spared my development team from the pressure of the product owner as well as from the technical person, solution architect. So eventually, we what we did, we respect each other's way of working, and I let them. I mean, this is my way of instilling that respect factor into the team, that we should respect each other's sphere of work. So that is something I did. In terms of other thing that I did face is like, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, I have always been working with a team which is not native to English. So it was like this time I got a Mexican team, so they were not that much vocal. They were not that much vocal, and I saw them that they prefer to be silent listener in the sprint ceremonies. So eventually, what I did, I asked them to be, have a video call, that sprint retro over a video. So where we played some games like, two truths and a lie, and then I made them comfortable that you are that much important to us as other people. So in that way, I tried to, you know, I tried to just emphasize the importance of being open uh, for all the team members.
Great. Thanks, Kushal, for that. Okay, so next one is again one of the most challenging thing I would say, which I am sure every Scrum Masters have faced in the past. So that is about mid of the sprint getting changes or some high priority tasks and all those things. So how you manage all these unexpected or high priority tasks, in the mid of the sprint. So that's for you, Kushal.
See, that's in a true agile world, we should not. We should not. I mean, if I go by my Scrum guide, we should not accommodate, anything. If something arrives in between, and we should not uh, just change the scope of the sprint. But it's
That's their
a it,
theoretical part.
yeah, it's in the practical world, it's not possible. So I mean, whoever says that they do not do that, I won't purchase that idea. Okay, so we had to do that just because we are being pressurized to do that. Yes, but there is a tactical way to handle that as well. If at all I have been asked to change the scope, if some new story arrives in between, then uh, I will set up some time with my Scrum team. We'll have a mutual consensus that whether we can deliver it or we can't deliver it. If team is confident that they can deliver it, then we go for the estimation of that story. If at all some 5 story points effort is required for that particular story, so we give some 5 story points, but we take out an equal amount of story points from our sprint backlog, because I really can't push my team to work, extra hours to stretch more to in order to complete that particular story. So that is something which I have drafted in my working agreement, that if at all there is a kind of change in scope of sprint in between, then we will need to descope some of the stories from the sprint in order to accommodate the new story. So that is what I do. But for that as well, I kept a new way. If at all that story is that much importance, so we have certain people from the business side. If at all something is arriving from them, then I will consider it. Otherwise, I will not consider that story. So there need to be a formal communication from them.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, so in your intro, you have mentioned about universal working agreement, right? So can you just elaborate it more, like how you come up with this universal working agreement? And let's say if you are working with multiple Scrum teams on a same product, for example, so what factors would you consider in creating such an agreement? So if you can just throw some light on that part, Kushal.
Yes. So there is a kind of challenge, universal working agreement. It's a kind of paradox, to be honest with you, because if at all team is operating in different way, some pods are running in support. So at that point of time, Kanban is more useful. So we really can't set same working agreement for Kanban and Scrum simultaneously. But if at all some normal development work is going on, okay, in order to streamline the process, it is better to keep that universal working agreement. So in my opinion, I mean, whatever the Scrum Masters whom I was mentoring, they were working on the same product more or less. So we kept a universal working agreement. Just not if it gives a sense of it brings out the transparency that you know all the product owners will do this kind of work, and then all the scrum master will do this thing. So that brings out the transparency factor, and moreover we will be having a similar kind of definition of done, definition of ready. And then if at all we want to fetch out the reports, it will help us. If at all somebody saying something and they are reporting it something, so it doesn't make sense. That's why I always suggest, if at all you are working on similar product, you're but in a different way, then I mean, some team is working on front end, some team is working on API side. So it's better to have a universal working agreement. And the factors what you stated, I always used to make sure that whenever I draft a working agreement, we do have a kind of transparency into that, and where we segregate three roles, that is development team, scrum roles, and the product owner role. So product owner is responsible for certain things that they before the sprint ends, he will be responsible to accept all the stories, and he will be he really can't say on the last day that he won't be accepting this particular story just because so and so things are missing. So well in advance he has to uh, you know uh, accept the stories. Then he has to keep the backlog prioritized. For scrum master, it is like, from reporting perspective, I need to be very much aware of all those things, how reportings are being managed, and moreover the blockers are being mitigated, how my team is not being disturbed and they are pretty much focused towards the sprint goal. And from a development perspective, how effectively the development is being done, like code quality, whether they are doing kind of a technical depth, they are raising spikes, how is being actioned, and then how often they are doing refactoring of the legacy code and all. So these things, I have drafted in my agile ways of working, or you can say working agreement. And I used to, it keeps on changing depending on the team. It's when I go to a new team, and there I observe what is required over there. So it may change, but more or less it is same.
Okay, that's great. Can I ask you also one more question on this working agreement? So that is about distributed teams, right? So let's say one team is working in Canada and one team is working in India. So there is a lot of time difference in that, right? So is there, what kind of working agreement you guys have in your team, that let's say if I am a, let's say, a product owner or a developer working in Canada and I have some work, and let's say I've just finished my day and then I just left for from the office, right? And the next person from India is going to pick up that work. So do you have any kind of working agreement that how to communicate and how to update your Jira board or things like that? Anything like that you want to share?
See, we did a kind of pair programming for that, just to make them more cohesive. A few of the developers were there in Canada, and few of them were in India. So at that point of time, in bring out that cohesiveness within the team, I opined for that pair programming. So at that point of time, I used to make sure that whenever a developer is leaving, he should update the Jira section within that comment that this has been done. So, and this has been completed till now. Otherwise he can in the code itself, there is a readme file, when we do a git in the git itself. So they used to comment. Otherwise they used to comment it over teams channel, that this has been completed from my end, and this has something which the other person can pick up. So we have a teams channel over there where we discuss all those things.
Okay, that's great. Okay, you also mentioned about maturity, right? So how you are going to assess different several Scrum teams maturity? Do you have any template or any criteria, or how you are going to do that?
See, maturity, this is something, a kind of a push from our you know from our leadership side, that we should assess the maturity of the pods, that how exactly they have evolved. So there are certain criteria, and we were adopting atom, agile target operating model. So in that agile targeting operating model, we do have several stages where we assess the team. That is crawl, walk, stand, run, and fly. So it starts from zero for crawl, and then one, two, three, four, and five. So it is like that. We used to give the rating for all those pods based on several factors. Generally, we used to assess them on, we do categorize that maturity assessment into four categories, like scrum rule and artifacts, then project planning and management, and then development practices that we have been following, and the testing and QA bit. So in Scrum role, we do keep, like, product ownership, then development team. So whether the product backlog has been prioritized, where we have all the business value for all the product backlog, where we have acceptance criteria in place. For Scrum, we can say that Scrum Master is maintaining all those artifacts. He is unblocking the team and all. Then there are kind of other things, that is project planning. There we include something like backlog prioritization, then sprint planning is happening frequently. What is the sprint outcome? How often we meet the sprint goal? And then release planning, what we are on a release during this course of the time. So these things we used to do. And apart from that, the third category was development practices, where we used to focus on how much refactoring we are doing, and how much production box we are fixing. Okay, if at all there are kind of escape defects or something, so how much production bugs are we are fixing. And then in the testing perspective, how we are evolving in terms of automation. So there were the categories where we do assess all those teams and how they are evolving.
Okay, okay, that's great. Okay, so just a small thing. We also did one session long time back. Even I don't remember. I think 1 years or 2 years back, where we discuss about this maturity model, and we also have one template. So if any of our subscriber want to take that template, you have to just put in a comment box your email ID. I will send you that template for free, of course. And do not send me one-on-one message. Just put your email ID in the comment box. If you have watched this session till now, it's a kind of free gift for you guys. Okay, so Kushal, let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, so one question with lot of people now asking, how's the job market in Canada for Scrum Masters? Because I'll tell you honestly, like I have a lot of friends out there in Canada, and their wives are more interested in this role as a Scrum Master. If you are a QA testers, someone from different background, HR and this and that, back there in India. So when they are now in Canada, so they are looking out for this kind of roles out there. So how's the job market in Canada, Kushal? Because I think it's almost 2 years for you, 2 and 3 years.
Yeah, see, I haven't explored much to be honest with you.
You have
Yeah,
maybe a lot of
because
friends or
I've
someone, at least you have some idea,
yeah,
like
yeah.
okay, you
But
might
yeah,
get
but
some
but
calls and
yeah, but here you will get to see a lot of things, in terms, they do promote Scrum role a lot. And it depends on provinces as well. If at all you are in a major province like Ontario now, there are a lot of opportunities over there. But yeah, even in the banking sector, if you go Sonand over here, like leading
yeah,
banks,
BFS
I don't
and
want to take their name, but
yeah, yeah, I
they
know a
are
couple of.
leading. Yeah, so leading banks are there. I always look that they are always in the search of Scrum Masters. So I mean, even in fact, you in the manufacturing industry, and the place where I'm living in, it's Calgary in
Yeah,
Canada. So here there are a lot of petroleum industries and all. Even they are looking for Scrum Masters. So
okay.
Scrum Master is, it is not restricted to IT industry only.
Yes, yes, yes,
It
of
can be a,
course.
yeah.
Even
So
over here
they,
also, we have like oil and gas, like Shell, and there are
yeah,
hundreds of other companies out
yeah,
there. So it's not only of IT, because IT is now in all those other sectors as well. So it is not only about software, right, Kushal?
yes, yes, yes. That's what. So I mean, it's a very, I mean, I can say it's there are
Opportunity are there.
requirements over. Yeah, there are
Yeah,
requirements are over there, but nowadays market is a bit slow. You must be knowing
correct.
that. So, but when I came over here, there was a lot of opportunities.
And
So
one more thing which I have seen, that why people are failing is because I think they don't have a practical experience out there. So they just do 2 day certification, and then they just put in their resume, and
exactly,
they just came out, and then they
yeah,
hoping that okay, they will get a job as a scrum master. So that's a big mistake I think which people are doing.
Yeah, so
Okay.
now I saw plenty of people, they are just like, okay, I did this certification, so can I get a Scrum Master role? Even I was recruiting few of the Scrum Master, and just 2 3 months back. So I saw a lot of profiles coming over to me, and eventually they were just certified Scrum Master from so and so organization, and eventually they were expecting that okay, they can be recruited, just they did the Scrum Master certification. But when I tried to grill them, on the
Yeah.
day-to-day basis,
Second
what
level,
they,
third level, then gone. There is no
yeah,
even third level. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So I mean, they were not even aware of few of the very basic things. So
yeah.
eventually, I got to know that they are certified, but they are not practically sound to lead a team to be a servant leader.
Okay, okay. Let's do some self promotion. So, guys, if you're looking for some mentorship program, do join us. I mean, we are taking, uh, people in small batches, and we'll try to give them some hands-on practical experience. So that's something which we are about to start. So, if you are willing to join, please feel free to drop me a mail or something like that. Okay, Kushal, I think let's move on.
Yes, please.
Okay, Kushal. So there is one more question, the last question, and I think most of the people wants to know that what is the salary which a Scrum Master getting in Canada, and maybe if you can give us some range, that's also okay because I don't want you to reveal your salary, but if you can just give us some hint that how much you are means like you are earning or your friends are earning, or what is the normal range which someone can look out in Canada, that will be great.
See, if it is something which you are starting, it's the first company in Canada, then it goes from 90K to 120 Canadian dollars.
Okay. So
So
that will be what
it's,
in Indian currency? 70, 80 lakhs, something.
yes, yes, more or less like that only.
So you are now a millionaire in next 1 or 2 years, or you are already a millionaire. Crorepati?
No,
No.
no, I'm a multi-millionaire now.
Guys, see why
I,
I'm telling you this because yeah, I mean the grass is always green. If though people if are they are earning this much, but their expenses is also like that. So do not think in terms of INR in rupees, but things in terms of Canada. Expenses are also like that. That's just on a safer side, Kushal. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I think we are good. We have covered a lot of things: personal life, professional life, life in a Canada as a Scrum Master, a lot of things. So, thank you, Kushal, for joining us today. And to our viewers, we hope you find this session helpful, informative, and you have enjoyed this
uh,
session. I do a lot. I mean, I enjoyed a lot talking to Kushal today. So, friends,
yeah. Sunat,
please,
before you
yeah,
wrap up
yeah,
this
yeah,
session,
yeah, please,
I want to add one more thing.
please,
Uh,
please.
I mean, I request all of you, to subscribe Sunan's channel. He's been doing a great
Not
job.
my channel.
Uh,
It's our channel. It's not
yeah,
Sunan's
it's
channel.
my
It's
channel. It's my
it,
channel.
it's our channel. Yes,
It's
yes.
on our channel. So I mean, CareersTalk has been a flag bearer for all those Scrum Masters, all those learners who wants to become an agile expert. Because I always listen it as a podcast for me. The experiences of all those folks whom you invite over there, and it's a quite a learning. I mean, I learned a lot of things from here, and I implemented those things in my projects as well. So I would request all of you to subscribe this channel, be in connect with this channel, because this is a small community through which we all can be connected, where we can share each other's experience and all. So that's a request for all of you.
Okay. Thanks,
And
Kushal.
yeah,
You have done my job today. So let's not make this session big. So, yeah, thank you guys. See you in
thanks,
some next
Anand.
session. Bye, everyone.
Bye.